The waitress thought it was just another ordinary shift. But when her coworkers mocked her for speaking Spanish to help an elderly customer, she had no idea a billionaire was watching. Hours later, the note he left under his glass changed her life forever. The billionaire had seen many waitresses in his life, but this one was different. She moved gracefully from table to table, never letting her tired smile fade. Yet it was the moment she bent down to comfort the elderly customer that caught his heart. She didn't just translate his words into Spanish, she translated dignity back into his life. Her eyes showed patience, her tone showed respect, and her actions showed a kindness rarely found in a world always rushing. But behind the kindness there was pain. When she returned to the counter, her coworkers snickered. "Why are you showing off?" one whispered. Another laughed. "You'll never get out of here." Their words cut deeper than a knife. And though she forced a smile, her trembling hands betrayed her heart. She worked quietly, hiding the tears welling up inside. Little did she know, the billionaire had noticed every word, every look, every cruel laugh. When the waitress returned to the corner table, her heart skipped a beat. The billionaire was gone. The half-empty glass of water still sat there, and the plate had been pushed neatly to the side, but the chair was empty. A sudden wave of panic rushed through her chest. Had she offended him? Did she serve him too slowly? Did he notice the way her coworkers mocked her? She felt her palms grow sweaty, and for a moment, she wanted to disappear into the kitchen. Something about the silence of that empty chair unsettled her in a way she couldn't explain. She began wiping down the table, trying to ignore the nervous flutter in her stomach. Her coworkers watched from a distance, smirking as if waiting for her to make a mistake. "See? Even the rich walk out on her," one of them whispered loud enough for her to hear. She bit her lip and tried to stay calm. The shame stung more than the cruel words, but she forced her hands to keep moving. She stacked the cutlery, adjusted the napkin, and told herself to stop overthinking. Still, a strange feeling lingered. Something wasn't right. Then, just as she lifted the glass to clear it, she noticed something unusual underneath, a small piece of folded paper, carefully tucked beneath the base of the glass. Her heart stopped for a second. Notes on tables usually meant complaints, or sometimes a tip written on the back of a receipt. She hesitated, her fingers hovering over the paper. Her coworkers were still watching. She didn't want to give them another reason to laugh. Slowly, she slid the note free, her hands trembling as if she were holding something fragile. Her first instinct was fear. Was this some kind of cruel joke? She unfolded the paper carefully, each crease opening like the pages of a secret she wasn't sure she wanted to know. The handwriting was neat, elegant, and unlike anything she had seen before. Her eyes darted across the words, and suddenly her breath caught in her throat. "Kindness is the greatest language, and you speak it fluently. The world needs more of what you carry." For a moment, she froze. These weren't just words of encouragement. They were words of recognition, of validation, from someone who had truly been watching. She pressed the note to her chest, overwhelmed by emotions she could barely control. The tears that she had been holding back all evening threatened to spill. But then she noticed something else. Beneath the paper, folded neatly under the napkin, lay an envelope. Her hands shook even more violently now. She glanced around the restaurant, half expecting someone to snatch it away, half hoping this wasn't real. The envelope felt heavy, not like a simple thank you card, but like it carried the weight of a destiny she hadn't asked for. With cautious fingers, she tore it open. Inside was a plane ticket, crisp and shining as if it had been printed just for her. She blinked again, reading the words carefully. First class, New York City. She gasped, her knees nearly buckling under her. It wasn't just a ticket, it was an invitation. Attached was another card. "This is your chance. A full scholarship is waiting. You have the gift, and the world deserves to hear your voice in every language you can speak." Her coworkers, who had been sneering all night, now stood frozen, their smirks wiped away. The waitress clutched the ticket, and the note like they were treasures from another world. She couldn't believe it. Just hours earlier, she had been mocked, ridiculed, and made to feel small. And now in her hands, she held proof that someone powerful had not only seen her worth but chosen to invest in it. Her eyes blurred with tears as she whispered softly to herself, "This can't be real," but it was. The billionaire was gone, yet he had left behind something. Far greater than his presence, he had left her a future, And for the first time in years, she dared to dream again. The waitress stood in the middle of the restaurant, her hands trembling as she held the ticket and note close to her chest. The noise of clattering plates, murmurs of diners, and laughter around her seemed to fade into silence. For years she had worked tirelessly, carrying trays heavier than her dreams, yet no one had ever truly seen her. But in this single moment she realized someone had. Someone powerful enough to open a door she thought would remain forever closed. She thought of the countless nights she had walked home in the cold, whispering to herself that maybe tomorrow would be better. She thought of the times she had studied foreign words under dim light, practicing accents in secret while others told her she was wasting her time. Every insult, every moment of doubt, every time she wanted to quit, suddenly none of it was wasted. It had all led to this. Her coworkers, who once laughed at her, now stared in stunned silence. Their cruel words hung heavy in the air, but they no longer mattered. The tears streaming down her face were no longer from pain, but from relief, from hope, from a promise of a brighter tomorrow. She had been invisible for so long, but today, she felt like the whole world had finally turned to see her. Clutching the note, she whispered the words over and over. Kindness is the greatest language, and you speak it fluently. They echoed in her heart, stronger than any insult she had ever endured. Those words weren't just a message. They were a reminder that her kindness had value, her talents had meaning, and her dreams had purpose. For the first time in her life, she believed she was destined for more than survival. She was destined to soar. That night, as she walked home beneath the quiet glow of the streetlights, the ticket safe in her bag, her spirit felt lighter than it ever had before. She didn't know what awaited her in New York, but she knew one thing for certain. The smallest acts of compassion can change lives, and sometimes, the life that changes is your own. With every step, she carried not just hope but a new truth, that no act of kindness is ever wasted, and even in the darkest corners, it has the power to illuminate a future brighter than she had ever dreamed.